For 50 long years, the old garage behind Graceland stood untouched, its heavy doors sealed beneath layers of dust and mystery. Fans whispered endlessly about what Elvis Presley might have left hidden inside. Some believed the garage held his forgotten cars and relics from his glory days, while others imagined something far deeper, treasures, memories, or secrets he never wanted exposed. With every passing decade, curiosity grew, yet nobody dared to break the silence. The Presley estate honored Elvis's final wishes and left the doors closed. But time eventually demanded answers. After half a century, the decision was made: the garage would finally be opened. On what seemed like an ordinary morning, a small team gathered outside the weathered door, though the air felt different, charged with history. When the old padlock finally clicked open, the sound didn't just echo across the driveway, it echoed across time itself, marking the beginning of a revelation no one expected. As the door creaked open, darkness spilled outward like ink, carrying with it air that had been trapped since the late 1970s. When the team stepped inside, dust rose in swirling clouds, shimmering like ghosts awakened from a deep slumber. Slowly, their eyes adjusted, revealing the silhouettes of legendary Cadillacs resting like giant forgotten kings. Motorcycles leaned against walls, their leather cracked, their metal dulled by decades of silence. Faded tarps draped over mysterious shapes hinted at secrets waiting patiently to be discovered. The smell hit them next: oil, leather, old metal, and something harder to describe: the scent of time itself. Every step deeper into the garage felt like stepping into Elvis's private world, a world frozen mid-story. They uncovered guitars, fan letters, personal notes, and items that belonged to the man behind the legend. Yet among all these discoveries, one thing stood out in the shadows: a small wooden chest unlike anything else in the room. The chest seemed almost alive with importance. Made of dark wood and secured with a heavy padlock, it looked as though Elvis himself had wanted it fiercely protected. The team gathered around it, feeling the weight of the moment settle on their shoulders. When the locksmith knelt down, his hands were steady but reverent, knowing this wasn't just another lock, it was history. After several tense minutes of scraping, twisting, and coaxing, the lock finally surrendered with a dull clink. Inside lay stacks of letters, some in Elvis's own handwriting, carefully folded and yellowed by age. Beneath them were photographs no one had ever seen, relaxed smiles, private family moments, glimpses of a life lived away from the spotlight. And then came the most shocking find: a sealed envelope labeled in Elvis's trembling handwriting: "To my fans, when I'm gone." For a moment, nobody moved. This was his final message, saved for a future he knew he wouldn't witness, but even that wasn't the most mysterious item. Beneath the envelope lay a small handwritten note with only 3 words: "Listen before reading." Next to it sat an old voice recorder, the kind Elvis was known to use whenever inspiration struck. The team realized instantly that he had left instructions, deliberately, carefully. His voice was meant to be heard first. They gathered in a tight circle as one person lifted the recorder. It felt heavier than expected, as though the weight of unspoken truth was hidden inside. When the play button clicked, the garage fell silent, and then his voice emerged, soft, tired, trembling. This was not the charismatic performer who dominated stages. This was Elvis the man, stripped bare. He spoke of fame as a golden prison, of losing himself behind the expectations of millions, of the simple boy from Tupelo fading beneath the image of the king. His vulnerability filled the room like a forgotten melody rediscovered. As the recording continued, he opened his heart in ways the world had never heard before. He spoke of crushing loneliness, how he could stand before thousands of screaming fans yet feel completely unseen. He confessed fears, regrets, and the emotional toll of living a life where mistakes weren't allowed, where perfection was demanded daily. His voice cracked when he mentioned Lisa Marie, the daughter he adored but felt he couldn't always be present for. He worried about how she would remember him and what the world would tell her. Then came a confession of regret over relationships damaged, dreams sacrificed, and moments lost to fame's relentless machine. His final words, barely more than a whisper, struck the team like lightning. "If they ever find this, tell them I tried." The tape clicked to a stop, and an aching silence filled the garage, a silence heavy with truth, pain, and long-buried humanity. Next came the sealed letter, the one addressed to my fans. When they unfolded the fragile paper, dated March 1977, they understood instantly that this was written near the end. In the letter, Elvis apologized for becoming someone he never intended to be, explaining how fame twisted simple relationships and turned private moments into public spectacles. He admitted the emotional cost of constantly performing a role for the world, leaving little room for the real person underneath. And then he revealed a secret no one had ever known: he had planned to walk away from music completely. Not as a retirement, but as a rebirth, somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful, somewhere he could simply exist without flashbulbs or expectations. But the final lines were cryptic. He wrote that he had left something important where it all began. The words were vague yet powerful, pointing toward a mystery deeper than anything they had uncovered. Driven by curiosity and guided by the letter's final hint, the team searched the garage again. Every inch suddenly felt like a potential clue. Finally, beneath one of the old Cadillacs, someone noticed the floor felt uneven. When they peeled back brittle mats, they discovered faint seams outlining a metal panel disguised as part of the concrete. Elvis had hidden something here intentionally. The team pried up the panel, revealing a dark, secret compartment beneath the floor. Inside were several metal cases, sealed tight and marked with dates from Elvis's final years. When they opened the cases, they found film reels wrapped in protective materials, personal documents, private photographs, and handwritten plans for a future he never reached. The most intriguing reel bore a bold label underlined twice: "The Real Me." Everyone knew instantly that this was the treasure Elvis had hinted at, his truest message to the world. Experts were called in to restore the delicate film reels, and after days of careful work, the first reel was finally ready. When the lights dimmed and the projector began to whir, a grainy image appeared on the screen. Elvis sat alone at a piano in a simple room, no costume, no stage lights, no audience. He looked straight into the camera, eyes full of sadness but also clarity. He spoke openly about the life he wished he could have lived: peace, simplicity, and love that wasn't complicated by fame. Then he began to play original songs, raw, emotional, and unlike anything he had ever released. Some were written for Lisa Marie, musical letters filled with love, apology, and hope. Between songs, he explained that he had secretly begun recording a final, personal album, one meant to reveal the real man behind the myth. But fate intervened, and that album never saw the light of day.